Welcome, brothers. JK, your brother in this struggle here, founder of Elevated Recovery and head coach at the Porn Reboot Coaching Systems. So, my days have been quite busy. The end of the year is a very busy coaching time, and I do receive hundreds of questions a day from men all over the world about different aspects of their reboot and quitting porn addiction. So, I decided that throughout the day, whenever I got a chance, I would periodically answer some questions that I get, especially those that I think might be relevant to those of you who are watching. So, those of you who are joining me live, welcome, welcome. Just say hello in the comment section. So, this question is from a brother and it's about hobbies and purpose. And he says, JK, as I continue to improve my reboot, I notice that I go about my days doing work, studying for certifications, looking for entertainment options, and I realize I don't have a really consistent, fulfilling hobby that I'm good at. Some people feel that way. Sometimes I think I'm not good at anything or that I can't do anything special. I definitely felt that way. I believe you mentioned having a purpose to be a luxury, but what is your take on how to discover hobbies of interests? I sometimes compare myself to my younger sister who's doing a lot of artwork, and I sometimes catch myself being jealous without showing it. I even say, wow, I'm not doing anything fun personally or fulfilling. Is it better to focus on controlling my behavior first while doing other things that are mundane for the time being? Or do you recommend seeking out hobbies slash activities of interest? I guess I've had trouble navigating this arena and staying consistent with an activity or pursuit? So this is a great question. I'd like to know in the comment section if you're watching this live, and even if you watch this a little bit later, do participate if you've experienced this. The first thing I want to say for those of you who are newer to the channel, and this is the first time you're hearing me speak of the concept that a purpose is a luxury, I feel that this is a very Western slash first world problem. There's Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and um, you would have to be fulfilled in terms of survival. First of all, you would have to have food in your belly, a roof over your head, and so on and so forth before you start worrying about things like what is my purpose. And I want to make one thing clear. If you are struggling with an out of control sexual behavior or porn addiction, chances are that some aspect of your life is still in survival. And that might be your marriage, that might be a certain part of your emotions. Maybe you're dealing with some sort of trauma. Even your career could be in survival mode. There is something in your life that is off, which you keep medicating, and that needs to be your priority. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't have hobbies. This doesn't mean that you're not going to enjoy life. And I think we've been programmed to believe that if we do not have some purpose, some hobby, something that we truly enjoy from this weird, esoteric, mysterious place within us that tells us, like, yes, this is what you were meant to do, that we are somehow missing the mark, that we are somehow doing things wrong. I don't believe this is the case. Because when you think of our history, and you go back to most cultures, you will find that people were hunters or gatherers. There were very, very limited roles. Roles for women were very, very clear cut. And if you go to look at more agrarian cultures, things were also very clear cut. And you look at civilizations through the years, civilizations that have not outlasted, but lasted longer than our current civilizations have existed. A blacksmith was a blacksmith. A farmer was a farmer, a merchant was a merchant. A carpenter was a carpenter, a bricklayer was a bricklayer. And if you wanted to do any of these things, if you wanted to have a place in society, you would be apprenticed to one of these professions so that you could develop useful skills that would help society. Now, were these people unhappy? Does that mean that everybody in a society that had a limited number of roles in terms of careers and paths you could take, does that mean that everybody before us was unhappy? No, it doesn't. What it simply means is that regardless of what your role is in life, it has nothing to do with your happiness or fulfillment. This is a first world problem. Life sometimes deals you certain cards. You may be born in a certain country. You may be born into a very unfortunate situation, but it's your responsibility to be happy. It's your responsibility to find purpose in the things that you are doing, right? So, to answer this brother's question, he says, I believe you mentioned having a purpose to be a luxury, But what is your take on how to discover hobbies of interest? If you're in your 20s, and I'm assuming this brother is, but even if you aren't, it's so important for you to put yourself out there and experience things. One of the characteristics of men who struggle with a compulsive behavior with pornography is isolation. Now, don't confuse the fact that you go to work and you are around your coworkers, or that you're a very charismatic person when you're the CEO or when you're leading a group. This does not mean that you are immune from isolation. You could be the same person who is so social and extroverted, but the moment you come back, you run back into your little cave and you sit down in front of your masturbation station and do your thing. So, um, removing yourself from isolation, putting yourself out there and trying new things. In my case, I went out there and I tried different things like dancing, swing dancing, which was super weird to me, but I ended up really enjoying it, and it became a hobby of mine. And I went from Lindy Hop to East Coast swing to West Coast swing, and I really enjoyed it. I went all the way. um, there were certain things that I aspired to do. And brother, you can do the same thing. Look at the things that the movies that you watch, the books you read, the video games that you play, the things that you are a spectator in, right? Look at those things, because these days men are spectators in many things. We've been trained to believe that it's okay to watch people fucking, watch people playing sports, watch people making money, watch people playing video games. You're watching them while they're living their lives, and you're just being entertained. So take a close look at those things you truly enjoy when you watch them, and ask yourself this question. Expand the limits of your possibility. Is it possible that I could be the person doing that? I remember watching the video game Tekken. Some of you may have played it when I was a kid. And there was this guy with dreadlocks, like I have. His name was Eddie. And I saw this guy doing this acrobatic thing, and I found out that it was called capoeira. And growing up, thankfully, I grew up in a home filled with books and filled with wonderful possibility. And I decided that I was going to learn how to do that because I wanted to learn how to move like that. Thought that that was cool. And so one of the first things I did when I got to college was I found a teacher who taught capoeira, and I learned capoeira for the first 3 to 4 years, my first 3 to 4 years in college, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I can take it up again. I don't have the time anymore, but man, those were some good years. I might later on, but that became a hobby of mine as well, right? Um, there was a certain point in my life, some of you are aware of this, where I took about 2 years of my life to go out and date women, have a lot of dating experiences, a lot of sexual experiences. That also became a hobby, being social, putting myself in social situations. It wasn't about getting women, it was about learning how to be social and comfortable around people, so that as a byproduct, I could be able to date like a healthy person, because I was a porn addict and I was socially awkward as well. That became a hobby. You said that you catch yourself saying things like, I'm not doing anything fun personally or fulfilling. Is it better to focus on controlling my behavior first while doing other things that are mundane for the meantime? In the meantime, no, you absolutely do not have to do that, brother. You can go out there and you can find different exciting things to do. You can try things. It's so important to put yourself out there, but you also have to stop comparing yourself to other people, because you do not know what their experience of that is. When I sold books, Bibles door to door, people at a certain point, when I was doing it first, people thought it was weird, and this is that, like, you fucked up in life, that's why you're doing this. Later on, when I decided that that was my purpose for those years in life, I made it a purpose, selling door Bibles and books door to door. Suddenly people's attitude towards it changed. They were like, oh my God, you're so passionate about this. You love what you're doing. Like, this is your purpose, brother. You were born to do this. You should be this and that. And then I built a huge organization with hundreds of people who were following me, traveling all across the US, selling books door to door, because I chose to make that my purpose. And when I was done with that, I was done with that. I moved on to one of the things which I'm doing right now, which is helping men end the out of control behavior with pornography and masturbation. This is my purpose now. I wake up every morning and it is what I'm doing. And one thing I've learned, and brother, you are capable of doing this as well, is that you can pick anything in life and you can find enough good reasons to do it. All right. It's also helpful to have an overarch. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I have a call to get to, but it's also helpful to find an overarching goal that you can aim at. So if there's something in your life that you truly want to accomplish, but you feel it's going to take decades and it's very much out of reach, then you can make a choice that every single thing you do, every hobby you engage in, every sort of work you do, every interest that you have is something that's going to be working you closer and closer to that goal. You can actually make that happen. Um, Finally, he said, I guess I've had trouble navigating this area and staying consistent with an activity or pursuit. Don't worry about staying consistent with something. I'll be honest with you. I stopped doing capoeira because not because I didn't enjoy it anymore, but really because I was undisciplined and I became lazy. Like that was it, and I had to admit it. There were many interests that I had. I looked at them and I was like, you know what? I enjoy doing this thing and I have fun doing it, but there are other things that I find to be more interesting. Unfortunately, back then, it was pornography addiction and other bad habits that I had a better, I enjoyed doing those things better than I did spinning on my head and hands doing capoeira. So, brother, I think in your case, look at these activities and these pursuits and ask yourself, why is it that I've started certain things and stopped them? Is it because I was expecting to get something out of this? Is it because um, I was lazy and I just couldn't follow through? Or are these things that I'm actually not interested in and I just do them because everybody else says that I should do them, right? Um, I hope this answered the question. I feel like I rambled quite a bit, but that is it for now. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Those of you who showed up live, I appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good to see you guys here. And I have got to get on another call, brothers. Now, whenever you're ready, there are a couple of ways that I can help you end your out of control behavior with pornography and masturbation. I'll just tell you two of the ways today. Now, if you want to learn about our system, the easiest way to do so is download a free copy of our book. It's called Seven Secrets of Porn Free Men, Confessions of a Porn Addict, Seven Secrets of Porn Free Men. There's a link in the description below this video to download a copy of that book and learn more about our wonderful system. Another way is to join our free Facebook group. It's absolutely private. No one is going to see your post. No one is going to know that you are in the group because it is a private, secret Facebook group. There's a link to join in the description below. And don't worry, we screen everybody, so your family members are not going to be popping in there and seeing the questions you ask. This is where you can get an accountability partner. This is where you can get questions like this answered by me live on video, even though I do most of this within the Facebook group. Again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.